recording. On.
Okay.
1, 2.
Okay, well, good afternoon, everybody.
Hello.
Appreciate your participation today. It looks like we'll be doing this obviously virtual, so busy agenda, and I hope the people out there joining via Facebook, et cetera, can hear us and you can see us coming across clearly. If there's anything, please let us know at the district office. But with that, I'd like to call the order the August 24th, 2020 meeting of the Mass Transit District to order, please. Josh, may I have a roll call?
Ryan Brewer,
Here.
Udavsko,
Here.
Karen Nacera,
Here.
Kevin McCarthy,
Here.
Jerry Daw,
Here.
Andrew Douglas,
Here.
Lynn Coppola,
Here.
Frank Squires,
Here.
Rusty Reed,
Here.
Steve Shuffle,
Here.
Melissa Ashford,
Here.
Eric Bush.
Okay, thank you very much. And as I stated, we have a bit of an agenda to go through, so we'll try and navigate this virtually as best we can. And if there's anything, please stop me if I need to slow down a little bit or if we have any questions along the way. But first up, we have the approval of a few different minutes that we've had in your packets. I'll just take them in order. The first up was the public hearing from June 29th, 2020. Any additional comments, questions there? If not, I'll look for approval.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes of the public hearing of June 29th, 2020.
Second.
Okay, first and second, all those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Anybody opposed? Let's move on to the regular meeting minutes from June 29th, 2020. Commentary there, changes? If there's no further discussion, I'll look for approval.
I move to approve the minutes of June 29, a regular meeting of June 29, 2020.
Second.
This is.
Okay, first and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, we have approval for June 29th, 2020 meeting minutes. And last is the regular meeting from July 20th of 2020. Any other discussions regarding those? Any adjustments?
I make a motion that we approve the July 2020 minutes.
Second.
Everybody seconded.
It's unanimous, but we have a first and second, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Very good. All right, let's move into the general comments today. First up, Managing Director's report. Frank, is there anything that you'd like to present today?
Other than you all know we're here virtually and all over the world, potentially on Facebook Live. So other than that, I will just leave it at that. And it looks like until further notice or the chairman or the rest of the trustees change their mind, we will be doing this via virtual for the at least foreseeable future.
Okay. Any questions, comments for Frank?
He looks very patriotic today.
I saw that too. Yeah.
Thanks to everyone for making these arrangements.
You're welcome, Lynn.
Okay. All right, Frank, thanks very much. Well, let's jump into some of the meat of the schedule. We've got some reports that we need to take a look at. First up on the reports is the revised June financial statements and July cash disbursements. Eric, is there anything there that you'd like to point out or address?
Can you hear me? There we go.
His mute is
Okay, we'll
on.
try and do it without feedback. How do you do that?
His mute button is on.
Well, he must be on his phone.
Eric, your mute button on the Zoom app is,
Yes.
hang up the phone and just unmute yourself on the Zoom application. In the bottom left. There you go, better.
All right, thank you. Thank you guys for helping me get connected. We had one major change to report to the June financials. If you recall, as we talked back in June, that we actually have 3 closings where we try to close the month, but also recognizing that it's the end of the fiscal year. Our second closing would be where we get all of our accruals in place. Our third then be reconciling our trial balance and general ledger with that of the result from the independent audit. We're sort of in that second portion of the closing of the fiscal year. And if you look at your revised financial statements, it's actually about 7 pages in. And I'm looking at a document titled General Ledger Account Activity Inquiry. Down in the right-hand corner, you'll see FY 17, 18, and 19 alternative fuel credits, each worth 86,000, 80,000, 47,000. Those were adjustments we made to the general ledger since our last meeting. The alternative fuel credits are credits we receive from the federal government. It's in comparison to what we would have spent on regular petrol compared to using natural gas. Congress reauthorized that back in December, so we were able to calculate those to book for the fiscal year back at the end of June. Other than that, nothing material to report, just an interesting graph we threw in about interest earnings on our Illinois funds. They're back later in the financial report. But other than that, all bills and wages are as normal month to month.
Okay. I appreciate you bringing up the revisions for those 3 years on the alternative fuel credit. I had that as one of my questions, so I appreciate you being proactive on that. And to your point, I did think that the while disappointing, I thought that the historical balances and yields associated with the Illinois fund interesting. So I mean, I think everybody, obviously you can see that in your board packet as it relates to the history related to what our interest income's been over the years. So I like the commentary. So thanks very much for that, Eric.
Thank you to Tim as well, who worked on the report as well.
And Tim, thank you. Yes, can't leave Tim out. So thanks very much. Does anybody have any questions or comments for Eric or Tim? If not, I'll look for a motion for the revised June financial statements and July cash disbursements.
I make a motion we approve the revised June financial statement and July cash disbursements.
Second.
Okay, first and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Very good. We have approval for those 2 items. Thanks very much.
Who's actually claiming the second?
Pardon?
Who's actually claiming the second 4 minutes? I had 4
J-
people.
J- Jerry Doss.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
We need a little hand that can go up. Anyway, very good. Thanks, folks. And I just wanted to say for the record, Stephanie Malcolm has joined us, so if we could get her on the roll call too, Josh, I'd appreciate it. Okay. All right, let's move into some board committee reports. First up, as usual, is the Finance Committee. Is there anything there from the Finance Committee today?
I don't have anything, but I did look at the numbers, and I'm going to defer to Eric.
No, actually, July is somewhat of a quiet month for the fiscal year as we gear up to begin. The pandemic has obviously led to some changes in operation, but nothing material to report. We were able to pull down roughly about $4 million of our CARES Act money. You may have seen in the news that there are some in the political landscape that are concerned that CARES Act money isn't being used. A lot of that is regulation driven. So Tim and I spent, actually the whole accounting crew spent a lot of time researching, Stephanie as well, how to play by the rules and get the federal money. So that's why I think we're a little bit ahead where some other organizations may be. We're well over halfway into our CARES money and should have that all pulled down within the next month and a half.
Okay. I do have one question on the investment income where it shows budget interest for FY20. It showed like 105,000 and it shows actual 61,000. And is that just through July, I'm sorry. So that comparison.
Yes, sir. That's a great. Actually, what that's is our total budget in July of 19 through June of 20 was 105,000.
Okay.
The column right to the left of it, it shows you in our current year to date, we've actually collected 61,000. So it's this time last year comparison.
Okay. Okay. And yeah. And,
Interest earnings are going to be interesting. We're going to be pulling down a lot of federal money here fairly soon. And those monies go to the Illinois funds, so we don't have to collateralize those within our smaller banking systems. So even though the chart is showing that our interest earnings on overnight yields are rather anemic, we're going to be adding to the base again and adding the money from the CARES Act as well as the emergency relief funds into the Illinois funds to start generating some interest for the fiscal year.
yes, sir.
If you
Thank you.
recall, oh, sorry.
Anemic, what a great way to put that.
Okay, any additional comments or questions? If not, let's move along to the Operations Committee, please. Can we have a report from the Operations Committee?
Yes, I'm going to defer that to Melissa.
Well, good evening, everyone, I guess I should say. We just want to inform everyone that we have received our access paratransit vehicle barriers that we were installing for additional safety reasons for health-related causes to COVID. We are installing those pre-ferry implementation. So our maintenance department has begun installing the barriers on our paratransit vehicles. They're really put together nicely. They look really well. We saw the first one installed at the end of last week. So those are on their way. We should have confirmation from the company providing our mainline vehicle barriers sometime early this week. Spencer's working on getting in contact with them and getting an update on their shipment and installation. We're still hoping for the 1st of September to have those installed, but we definitely are still within our procurement status for those. Our new run bid did go into effect today with the Route 15 changes. If you recall, we had to make changes to the Route 15 because of the construction coming on Woodside Road. That's going to be for a significant amount of time. We did make some changes to 15 that we actually think are going to be more productive for our passengers. So we're looking forward to what that brings forth. And other than that, everything's been going really well. Everybody's been healthy. We can't complain. So we're hanging in there.
Great, thank you. I was so glad to see the barriers on last month. Thanks again for that.
Yeah, they're really neat. Access barriers are similar in function, but I'm really impressed with them. They're really nice.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any questions for operations? If not, we appreciate all your efforts as always. Can we move into the administration committee? Any report there?
We will have in executive session.
Okay. All right, then we'll go ahead and pass that. And the only thing I would say from administration is I just want to thank the team for their efforts on the newsletter. I thought it was very well done as usual and enjoyed that. So.
Same here. I was going to comment on that too, Brian.
Okay. Planning Commission report. I don't believe Jason is with us, Frank, correct? Or yes?
I don't see him. I thought he was here 15, 20 minutes ago, but apparently he's not here now.
Jason?
But we got their annual report, and I did appreciate seeing that.
Yeah, yes, we did. Okay, well, unless he pops back in, we'll move along. Disabled Person Advisory Committee, was there anything from Pete? I'm not sure if he's joining us.
No, Pete did not provide any information for this month.
Okay. All right, very good, thank you. All right, let's jump into the items under new business if we could, please. First item up is the board meeting dates. Eric, could you address that for us real quickly?
Yes, sir. Thank you. There are two dates that we are proposing be changed from the adopted meeting date schedule. That's September and May of next year. Those are being moved to the fourth Monday of those months, I believe. Steve might want to correct me if I'm wrong.
Fourth Monday is when we typically meet.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah, we just had updates we needed to make to September and
May.
May.
Yeah, if you got your packet in color, you'll note that September and May are both blue, so those would be the different meeting date numbers. Or if you have those just electronically, they should show up different.
I think it was September and March, correct?
No.
May.
May.
I assume May is Memorial Day. What's the September change?
To the fourth Monday.
We always have it on the fourth Monday, don't we?
Right.
Yep, I think we miscounted on September and put it on the third Monday.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, then. I don't know if there's any further discussion. I apologize. I was just going to say in the background notation, it said September and March in the commentary. So I apologize. I didn't pick up on that, but.
That's my fault, Brian. I apologize.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Any further discussion? I think it's pretty straightforward. If there isn't any, I'd look for a board motion.
I make a motion that we approve the board meeting dates for 2021.
Second.
Okay, first and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Very good. We have the updated calendar then approved. Next up is we have some tech electronics. We have an amendment to our cameras project. Steve, will you address that for us?
Yeah, when we brought this to you back in June, in error, we just had a quote that included only the material costs for the project. The proposal that they sent us that didn't break everything out included the labor and everything else. So we needed to amend what we asked you for back in June to provide for the full amount instead of the 30,000+ that we asked for. The cost of the entire project with labor and support and everything else is a little over 52,000.
Board, just before the notice to proceed, within your packet is a line-by-line breakdown of everything that this quote covers, from the cameras to the mounts to the adapters to screws. This just takes the labor and installation cost, which are being quoted at prevailing wage rates as quoted within the contract documents, and adding it to the total project price. Again, this was an oversight. Blame it on COVID. Lots of things going on, but you still have a detailed breakout of the entire project contained within your packet.
And what's the new amount, please? Exact total?
$52,092, ma'am.
And this is coming out of the regular budget?
Yes, in the sense that we've adopted a budget that covers capital expenses. This would be, the camera project is going forward with DOPE money and Rebuild Illinois money.
Okay.
So in the sense, it's all locally funded. We'll just get reimbursed for it once they're complete, which is as most projects proceed.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And where's this company out of?
St. Louis
Okay,
with local representation.
okay.
And it was sole source based on their familiarity with the current camera system, right?
The controls of the system are part of their proprietary design, so it would be beneficial to us that we keep them.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay. Any further discussion or questions? If not, I'll look for a motion here.
Can I just read what it says on financial impact? Make a motion to accept the staff's recommendation to approve a contract with the Tech Electronics in the amount of $19,940.14 to accompany the board-approved July 20th, 2020 contract of $31,141.86 for materials. The contract is for 1 year for a total cost proposal of $52,092.
Perfect.
Second.
Okay. First and second.
I'll second.
We have a second on that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, very good. We have that amended and we'll move forward with that project. Next up, we have the Illinois State Treasurer ePay program. Eric, are you going to discuss that for us?
Yes, sir. Thank you. So this is a two-step modernization of how we collect revenue. Obviously, with the pandemic, paper and those type of products have been looked at as carriers. Not really so much worried about that as I am getting SMTD into the technological age as far as revenues and receipts goes. What we're going to be able to do is put a swipe, for lack of a better term, in the front lobby that'll allow people to make their past choices and pay for them electronically, either through e-check or credit card of their choosing. There is a slight transaction fee, 2% or not more than $1, whichever is higher. That usually goes with each transaction, but this will allow a lot more options for our ridership and users of the system to interact with it and not be limited to cash only. We have automatic reconciliation ability because these go directly into our Illinois funds account because we're partnering with the state treasurer. There's a pass-through where it goes through an overnight holding account with Illinois and then clears through our Illinois funds. We'll be able to get same day or next day reports. Rachel, Jamia, Tim, Bose, and I will all get those. And then we can use those next day reports to reconcile our weekly activity, which we normally do 3 times a week. We can now do 1. In addition to providing all the options for the ridership, it makes accounting a lot easier.
Eric, could you give me an example of how this works, of some kind of a transaction?
Yes, ma'am. Say I wanted a $20 pass, one of our yellow passes. I could walk up to the counter and ask Jamia for a $20 pass. She would enter the $20 pass into the terminal. It would show up much like an iPad terminal. If you go to buy a cup of coffee and you swipe there, it'll show up your transaction. You swipe your card. You can get the option of having the receipt printed for you at the time, which we currently write out for you, or text or emailed to you, and your transaction is complete.
Thank you.
Will it be like a specific amount, increments like the same amount as a bus pass? Is it like a max or?
No, we are, these are all single transactions. So we call it accordion style setup of the fund. So you would add to it, I guess.
Okay.
I'm not really sure how the camera's working.
I get it.
But each transaction would add to the accordion of the collective transaction. So
Okay.
it's the collective transaction that the transaction fee applies to, not each individual selection. So I could go in and buy a day pass, a week pass, a month pass, and a year pass. That's one transaction.
Okay. And it'd be in the lobby, you said?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
The state of Illinois provides our first terminal, and any terminals we choose to deploy thereafter would be on us. But these are, $300 terminals, and Brian will know just as much as any. These aren't cheap, and getting them for about $300 straight out the door is extraordinary.
Great.
Are there upkeep concerns with them, or are they something that's really commonly used and they seem to work well?
They do seem to work well, but that's a great question. There are common upkeep issues that they do face. Just like our copiers, we will have lease agreements, or not a lease agreement, but agreement with the treasurer's office. They maintain the equipment. We pay a one-time fee for having it. And since it's a partnership with the state, it actually keeps the costs lower.
Sounds like a win.
If somebody loses their card or whatever, will there be a record for them we can look it up and say, yeah, you still have some money on that card?
That's a great question. I'm going to have to research it. I'm sorry, I don't have an answer for you right now.
No, that's okay. I just wonder. I was just thinking if they, in case somebody would lose their card, how do we track it for them?
We are working to make sure we have verification in place. So for those card holders that do need either income or medical eligibility to hold that pass, we are putting safeguards in place on the front end for that. If somebody actually loses their pass, that's something I'm going to have to get back to the board with.
Okay, thank you.
Until we go to new fare technology and new fare collection methods, it's going to be tough for us to be able to track whether someone has 6 or 12 punches on their card. But that's something that should be coming in the next few months. So we should be able to eventually track that, even though we may not be able to right at the beginning.
Okay, thank you.
And Eric, do you want to mention about the IBID?
Yeah, I was going to actually. We have a surplus designation next on the agenda, so I was going to tie the two together. Thank you, Stephanie. Really, that's the e-pay synopsis. We really didn't have the transactional levels we needed to go. Our concentration account is at US Bank. That's where we do most of our banking. We keep most of our money with Illinois funds because we don't have to collateralize those or secure them, whereas we would have to pay to collateralize funds in the non-state supported banks. It's a great program. The partnership with another governmental body just makes sense. You'll see shades of that in the IBID program that I talk about here with the surplus designation. But what we're trying to do is tie everything together transactionally in an electronic format that's seamless for the ridership and for the participant of the system resources.
And I guess I would just throw in there, and Tim and Eric, correct me if I'm wrong, just from a 10,000 foot elevation, I mean, this is, I guess for the trustees, I mean, this is, if you've ever been to a standalone ATM machine, so to speak, I mean, really, if you're thinking about merchant processing and electronic payments, this is what it allows us to do. And this is specifically for local units of government and governmental agencies. The average transaction fee on this is somewhere between 1% or 2%. We can pass that along as a convenience fee, but it's much lower based on the amount of volume that the Treasurer's Department has with this. So it's a very good fit for us, and I appreciate you getting us into the 21st century. So,
Sounds really good.
yeah. Is there any additional comments or questions regarding this? If not, I'll look for a motion.
I make the motion we approve the e-pay program enrollment with the Illinois State Treasurer's Office.
Second, this is Win.
Okay, we have a first and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Very good. We have approval to move forward with the e-pay program, and appreciate the efforts there. Next up is we have an intergovernmental agreement with Sangamon County. Can you address that for us?
So we have a bus that we would like to trade a bus for with Sangamon County. The state of Illinois, through the Intergovernmental Cooperation Act, allows us to, through intergovernmental agreement, trade assets that no longer have a useful life and have fully depreciated. Both of these buses meet those criteria. There is no financial attachment to either asset through the federal government. So these are technically and legally free to trade, and that's what we're proposing.
Swapping titles, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I thought it was pretty straightforward. Anybody have any questions for Eric regarding this? If there's no further discussion, I'll look for a motion here.
I make a motion that we pass the intergovernment agreement with Sangamon County for 2 buses.
Second, this is Sue.
Okay, we have a first and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Okay, very good. We have approval to enter into the agreement.
Yeah, I'm just one thing. We did have our attorney look at this document too, correct? Or he drew it up?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks, Jerry. All right, then. Next item under new business is the designation from of surplus. So, Eric, would you talk to that, please?
Yes, sir. Thank you. With the addition of the maintenance IT technician, we've been able to clear out some surplus equipment and obsolete equipment. Mateo's done a nice job of getting in there and identifying what he has and what he can get rid of to clean up some space. As Stephanie, Manager Malcolm mentioned earlier, this is also where we're bringing ourselves into the 21st century, involving payments and bids as well. So we've come into partnership with the state central management services through their iBid services. So if the board sees fit to declare these items surplus, we can then take these items and put them on the iBid marketplace, if you will. And then anybody's free to come and over whatever duration of time that we decide to have an auction open, bid on materials that the board's declared surplus and sell them that way. This completely does away with the staff time that would be dedicated to sitting at an auction and actually spending the hours to do the auction. This is take a picture of the surplus, put it up on a website and get bids back. Then they can go to our newly adopted ePay system and for a low fee, pay for that and have a new asset.
If anybody's not familiar with iBid, I know Leslie and Karen are probably familiar with it. It's basically the state of Illinois' version of eBay. And it works
Yes,
pretty
it is.
well.
Marketplace.
And it's been quite around at least, I'd say what, Eric, 10 to 15 years at least.
At least. I remember working with the Western States Contract Alliance back in 2004, and this iBid was back then. So yeah, absolutely. It's just another good example of intergovernmental cooperation.
Yeah, exactly. Well established, and I was just very pleased to see us get the participation because you're right, the efficiency and scalability of what we can do definitely improves. So, okay, any further discussions or questions there? If not, I'll look for a motion.
I'll make a motion.
We didn't need
What?
one.
We don't need one.
I believe we'll need a motion because we have inventory that was attached, and I want to make sure we have approval to make sure that it's obsolete surplus.
I'll make a motion to
Go ahead.
accept staff's recommendations and declare the equipment listed in the attached inventory as obsolete surplus and direct staff to dispose of it in the most economical method available.
Second.
Okay, very good. First and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed there? Very good, thank you. And the last item that we have under new business today is a current historical recap so to speak, of our property tax levy, and an update from Eric, please.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to take a few moments and bring the board up to speed. Obviously, with COVID and the pandemic, the payment cycles have been altered by Sangamon County. To date, we've brought in about 52% of our property tax levy, but believe it or not, we're about $60,000 where we were at this point last year. This is going into September, which is historically one of our larger distribution months. We get distributions in May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and then a little, perhaps a reconciliation or clearing out payment there at the end of November. So next month will be our big month for us to be looking at property taxes and seeing what the local response or what the local, what the pandemic had on local taxpayers. I'm not worried about being 60,000 behind at this point in almost a $3 million tax levy. It is interesting to look at the behavior of how people paid. Obviously, with the relaxed deadlines on the payments, you did see a lot of people not pay in that first distribution, but that picked up certainly in the second and third. So I think what happened is people got a little spooked with their cash there initially, took advantage of the deadline relaxation, came to their own conclusion that things were going to be okay, and then paid as they would have historically in the second. By and large, I think we're doing really well comparatively, and by comparatively, I'm speaking nationally, in terms of just being a sound rural locality that has a good degree of stability to lean on at this point. I do believe we'll hit our extension. I'm not really worried about people just not, carte blanche not paying their taxes, but I did want to be able to be present to the board and explain what behavior we are seeing from taxpayers and what we anticipate going through our next distributions.
Okay. Appreciate the update. Is there any questions or comments there for Eric? Okay, hearing none, that concludes our new business. But we do need to go into a closed meeting at this point. I guess I would ask for any of the general public that might be joining us in on the meeting today, if there's any questions or comments that we have for the Board of Trustees. Is there anything from the general public?
You might wait about 10 to 15 seconds. That's about the delay we have. Let's see here.
Okay.
Well, we do have a comment from Jane Ford stating that Friends of Transit doing Facebook Live Transit Tuesdays in August at 2 p.m., taking questions and providing information. August 11, we discussed changes to Route 15 and showed map while explaining. SMTD posted it on their website, which we greatly appreciate. You can always check out what we are doing on Friends of Transit Facebook page. We have also started putting up other community information. A comment from Jane Ford there about the live streaming Q&As we've been doing.
Okay, and I will say on behalf of SMTD and the Board of Trustees, we appreciate that group's partnership and the work that they do in our community promoting our district and our services. So Jane, we thank you for that. Is there any additional comments from the general public today?
Right now, nothing's coming through yet.
Okay, I don't think we have any additional comments from the general public. So at this time, folks, we'll need to go into a closed meeting. I had previously sent the Board of Trustees an email with protocol for our closing our open and opening and closed. So I'm not sure if one of you might still have that on your screen or we're able to print it out, but Tyler, sorry, go ahead.
I started to make the motion.
Oh, no, please go ahead.
I make the motion to close this open meeting and open a closed meeting for the purpose of discussing personnel, liability, real estate, security, etc.
I second the motion to close this open meeting and open a closed meeting.
Okay, very good. Is there any further discussion regarding adjourning to a closed meeting? Hearing none, a motion has been made to close the open meeting and open a closed meeting to discuss personnel and the approval of the closed session minutes from June 29, 2020. All those in favor, please say, sorry, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Is there anybody opposed? Okay, the open meeting of August 24, 2020 is now closed at 5:15 p.m. And I am opening a closed meeting on August 24th, 2020 at 5:18 p.m.